Hey guys, Asher Racial Legends. Welcome to the video. Send us some love, some positive vibes your way, especially if you need them out there. Today, it's our Raid 101, our weekend series here on the channel, where we revisit some of the fundamentals in Raid Shadow Legends, recognizing that thousands and thousands of new players start this game every single week, and we can take some stuff for granted here, especially like me when I've been making content for 6+ years. As I do on this series, because it's generally new players watching this, or newer players, or at least players out there maybe referring friends or family members or whatever, I'll give a shout to my download link. You'll get your hands on Eleanor with an irresistible HP burn. She's got poison placement, poison activation, and then after level 15 and level 30, you'll get respectively Ugo and Tagore, two of the best epic champions in the game right now. So make sure if you're just starting out, I would delete and reinstall to get these three amazing champions, and then you could claim Lemnisci as a decent Force Affinity nuker, and you can use promo code for new players out there, Desert Queen, there we go, and get your hands on a free copy of Tawana Rock, a Void legendary champion as well. I always say it, but man, they didn't make starting out this easy back in my day. Anyway, it's kind of a good way to combat the natural, inevitable power creep that comes in a game like this that's been around for so long now. Those champions will help you catch up. All right, today I want to ask a simple question. Kind of what should you do with your gems early on? And is it worth paying for masteries on your first champions and then beyond, right? Is it worth using masteries on champions or buying masteries on champions? Because God knows farming Mino is arduous and it's boring and it's a crappy little dungeon, but it is easy. We'll talk about the best strategy to farm it, but first, let me give you my philosophy on what to do in the very beginning, right? So you're going to have, probably nowadays, if you use a download link, you're still going to be investing in your starting champion, but depending on who you get and which download link that you use, you might have a better option early on to campaign farm, or as the first champion you want to prioritize when it comes to maxing out on your account. So whoever you go with, I do still recommend you'll get, and even without spending, you'll get enough gems to purchase your first champion's masteries. To purchase masteries in this game, it costs 800 gems. It costs 800 gems for every champion indefinitely. That's the cost to bypass Minotaur's Labyrinth, so you don't have to farm the scrolls. Now, when you do farm the scrolls, you go to good old Mino, and how it's going to work is, just for those unfamiliar, is you get all these scrolls, right? So if you have a whole team, let's just pretend this entire team, none of them have masteries done yet, right? So let's just use, I don't know. Let's just pretend I was using Kurzat. Actually, I'm going to use Shield Guard because he's a great example. All right, here it is. Let's just say I want masteries for all of these champions, right? And he's my farmer. I have Shield Guard as he's my favorite, by the way, kind of early game, mid game mastery farmer. If only one champion has his masteries, the scrolls are going to randomly be distributed amongst all the champions that don't have their masteries, right? So if I really wanted just Hacklord and Smashlord's masteries, well, I would just run 2 champions, right? And they're going to be splitting the experience 50-50, and all of the scrolls are going to go to that one champion, right? But if I wanted everybody and I didn't care, well, I'd run them all together too, right? So you have that option, but just know that if you have the masteries already, the rest of the distribution gets amongst the other champions that don't have their masteries. The reason we say this is I still recommend buying your first champion's masteries, paying the 800 gems, because that's going to allow you to have a Mino farmer. That Mino farmer will already have his masteries. It's going to benefit you in every area of the game because they'll have their masteries, right? But moreover, it's going to help you with that distribution. You're not going to have a random champion that you're going to have to farm in addition to everybody else that you want to farm, right? So I like spending on my first champion. Now, if you don't mind dropping a dollar or two in the game, it won't cost you that much. comparatively, but it's also the slippery slope fallacy. When you start getting used to spending a little bit in games like this, things can get out of hand, honestly. So I recommend, no matter what you are, free to play, small spender, heavy spender, you should always set a budget. I say it all the time, but it's really important in this game because this game uses all sorts of psychological tricks. It's a great game. I think it's the best hero collector out there. I really do. But they use a lot of psychological tricks to get you accustomed to spending and then comfortable spending a little bit more. And they thrive off of you not keeping track or setting a budget for yourself. Hey, if you want to go down on your budget or up on your budget, more power to you, but still stick to a budget is my recommendation. So as I was saying, before I got on my soapbox, is I feel like even your second or maybe your third champion buying the gems is actually, or buying the masteries with the gems, I actually think it's still a good idea if you're so inclined to do so. But after that, unless you're a whale and you just do not mind spending the gems every single time, frankly, that's what I do because I've maxed over 500, 600 champions now for champion guides on this very channel. I've done over 500 guides. That would be a long freaking time of mastery farming. But I'm also compensated as a content creator playing this game. Not compensated in terms of cash, but compensated rather in terms of creator perks. So every week I get around 1,000 or so gems. I use those for masteries. I digress. I just wanted to let you know in full transparency what I do, what my style is. That all being said, listen, it's 800 gems. Let me just run this team, right? It's 800 gems to buy masteries, but it's around 660 gems worth of energy just to actually do the runs. So you're saving quite a bit. You're saving quite a bit of actual gems, especially in a vacuum. Okay, so I save 140 gems by not buying them, but I save time by buying them. But also, an important factor is the experience that you get. It's not a ton, but you're also leveling up these characters. You're leveling up these champions, right? Now, this is an uncommon farmable champion in Shield Guard that I'm using right now. He's in lifesteal gear. Super, super basic build, nothing crazy. He's literally, I think, in my worst artifacts on my entire account, and he can solo the hardest, the most difficult stage of Mino. So finding a very capable Mino farmer is not that difficult. Once you've been playing for any amount of time, you can use like Alice, or like they give a lot of champions who can easily solo this dungeon, right? There's no shortage of them. But in the beginning, this dude, uncommon champion Shield Guard, easy in lifesteal gear. Now let me go ahead and show you Shield Guard, just so you guys can see. First of all, this guy is a campaign farmable champion. He's in lifesteal gear. Here's my total stats on him right now. A little bit of speed, crit rate. That's about it. He's defense-based, so he's pretty easy to keep alive, right? These are the masteries that I have, by the way, on Shield Guard. I would probably actually change them a bit. These are very, very old, so I would look it up on hellhades.com if you want some masteries. However, what I wanted to point out before I let you guys go as well is he is campaign farmable. This champion that I just showed you, he drops in the Dreadlands, right? So you can get your copy nice and easy. You can also book him out just by duplicate copies of him if you'd like to. It's a good place to farm in the campaign, the Dreadlands, because you can get your hands on one of the best campaign accessible champions in the game in War Maiden from the same stage, right? She has an AoE decreased defense, big version when ascended, really the best AoE decreased defense out of any rare in the game. So you can pick up both of these champions. Even Berserker is not that bad either. So it's a great place to farm early on until you get those champions in campaign. So TLDR, in the beginning of the game, I would prioritize buying your first masteries. And if you think you're going to be playing the game for any amount of time, I would also invest in upgrading my gem mine. Because honestly, if you're going to be playing this game, if you upgrade early, that's just longer you get of extra gem production. It's going to yield great dividends in the long term, right? Compounding interest in the gem mine based on the date that you decide to do that. So TLDR, yes, I would spend my first champion, even maybe my first 3 or 4 champions if you're so inclined to do so. After that, you should know that unless you just want to be a big spender and just buy them because you don't want to take the time at all, which I understand and empathize with, it's cheaper in terms of energy cost, and you're leaving some experience as well for your champions on the table if you just buy them every time. So if you can, I would farm the dungeon for most players out there. If you want that cheat code shortcut and don't mind spending in order to get it, well, then go ahead and by all means spend for your masteries. So yeah, it's not a one size fits all, but all the optimization, of course, comes with actually farming the stage, as annoying and arduous as it may be. There it is, guys. A quick assessment of Mino and of buying masteries. Hopefully some of you guys found it helpful. Thanks for watching until the end of the video. Much love. And as always, take care, guys.